You keep fulfilling desire and it will keep growing. That is why it becomes almost impossible to conquer them. Very much like the undefeatable demon Rakta Bij. He was endowed with the boon that if anybody fought with him and shed one drop of his blood, when the blood fell on the earth, it would give rise to a cloned expansion of Rakta Bij, with the clone possessing the same abilities. None of the devatas had the means to subdue him. When they requested Mother Durga, but she faced the same problem in her battle with him. From Mother Durga's forehead then manifested another form of the Divine Mother, Kali. And what did Kali do? Have you ever pondered about the Manas Rog? Manas Rog means diseases of the mind, which are anger, greed, desire, hatred, etc. In Vedic literature, they are called Shad Ripu, the 6 enemies sitting within. And the Ramayana says, look, one physical affliction brings you down. What about all these mental afflictions? Ek vyadhi vashanar marahi, ye asadhya bahu vyadhi, pīdahi santat jeeva kahu, so kimilahi samadhi. People come to me and say, Swamiji, I could do nothing today. What happened? I was having a toothache. So this 6-foot body got incapacitated with one little toothache. And what about the multiple mental diseases that are affecting us? Consider, for example, anger. We all know it's bad, but can't resist its urges. One wealthy businessman was traveling from New York to Boston by train. And in the dining car, to the waiter, he ordered pancakes and Indian chai. The waiter said, Sir, we do have chai latte on the menu, but not pancakes. You don't have pancakes, said the businessman. Don't you know I'm your wealthiest customer? 20 plus scores of my employees are your passengers every day, and we transport hundreds of tons of freight by your railroad, and you tell me you don't have pancakes. The waiter consulted the restaurant manager, who decided this passenger was important. He phoned up the next station and they made special arrangements for the pancakes. When the train stopped, the pancakes were passed, and the waiter said, Sir, I have great news for you. We have been able to arrange for pancakes. The passenger said, to hell with the pancakes. I would rather be angry. This anger is the enemy within, which we experience but feel helpless in dismantling. The Vedas say, go to the root and understand why it arises, not on its own. The cause for anger is the obstruction of desire. If you create a desire and it is impeded, that obstruction results in the outburst of rage. The desire could be subtle. I need him to change. I need her to be different. or they could be gross desires of the senses or ambitions of the mind. But the problem of desires does not end there. If they are obstructed, one becomes angry. And if they are fulfilled, it results in greed. Jo pratilabha lobha adhikai. That is why it becomes almost impossible to conquer them. You keep fulfilling desire and it will keep growing. Very much like the undefeatable demon Rakta Bij. He was endowed with the boon that if anybody fought with him and shed one drop of his blood, when the blood fell on the earth, it would give rise to a cloned expansion of Rakta Bij, with the clone possessing the same abilities. And that is why hundreds and thousands of Rakta Bijas would keep getting created. None of the Devatas had the means to subdue him. When they requested Mother Durga, but she faced the same problem in her battle with him. She would shed his blood and it would result in more Rakta Bijas. Finally, the Devatas advised, Divine Mother, you need to ensure that his blood drops don't fall on the earth. From Mother Durga's forehead then manifested another form of the Divine Mother, Kali. And what did Kali do? She was hungry for this demon's blood. As Durga fought with Rakta Bij and the blood would drop before it reached the earth, Kali would drink it off, and ultimately Rakta Bij got subdued. Kali now had so much of furious momentum that Shivji got worried. She will disturb the earth and the beings around. How do I pacify the mother? Mahadev, Ashutosh Bhoot Bhavan Bhagavan, then came and lay down before her on the ground. Kali put her foot on Shivji. That is why the depiction of that Divine Mother with Shivji below her foot, and she became pacified. Our desires are very much like Rakta Bij. You fulfill one and two arise in its place. Let us read about this in my latest book, Spiritual Secrets from Hinduism. In the scriptures, worldly pleasure are likened to Mrig Trishna, which translates to mirage seen by the deer. When the sun's rays reflect on the scorching sands, they create the illusion of water. The deer, deceived by this mirage, believes there is water ahead and eagerly runs to quench its thirst. Unfortunately, its limited understanding cannot grasp that it is falling prey to illusion. The more it chases after the mirage, the further it recedes. Similarly, the material energy Maya weaves an authentic-looking illusion of happiness. We find ourselves relentlessly pursuing it, hoping to satisfy the cravings of our senses. However, no matter how fervently we change, there is never any fulfillment. These desires can be likened to an itch. It creates an irresistible urge to scratch. Yet scratching provides only temporary relief, and then the itch returns with greater intensity. If instead one exercises patience and refrains from scratching, the itch gradually diminishes. So, the solution of desires is not to nurture them, to fulfill them, or to obstruct them, but to suffocate and eliminate them. If some fortunate soul can get rid of desires, that soul, it becomes God-like. Hence the Kathopanishad states, Yada sarve pramuchyante kama yesya ridishritaah atha martyo mrito bhavatyatra brahma samashnute. If you can vanquish your inner yearnings, Brahma samashnute, you will become Brahma Swarup. The Bhagavatam states, Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manas sthitan tarhyeva pundarikaksha bhagavattvaya kalpate. Bhagavattvaya, you will become God-like by achieving this one success of desires. Yo na kamayate kinchit brahma bhuyaya kalpate. The Mahabharata is saying exactly the same thing. Those who are free from desires have achieved a God-like nature. So let us find out why desires arise within us. What is the root cause of it all? The Bhagavad Gita says, Sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodho. Look, the cause of desires is attachment. Attachment means the clinging of the mind. Wherever your mind has started clinging, whether it be your family members, status, prestige, power, objects of the senses, then those desires arise in your mind again and again. And once you fulfill the desire, it results in greed. And if you don't fulfill it, it results in anger. One sadhu appeared in the court of a king. The king very respectfully welcomed him, made him sit on a high pedestal and said, Mahatma Ji, how can I serve you? The sadhu said, O king, I am a renunciant. I have got my renunciant spot. Please fill this with a few gold coins. The king said, Maharaj, I have got treasure chests full of gold. You ask for just so little, it shall be done. He asked his servants, fill up the sadhu's pot. They kept on pouring swarn mudras into it, but no matter how much they filled, those swarn mudras would disappear, leaving the pot empty as before. Ultimately, the servants and the king admitted defeat. Maharaj, we were unable to fill this pot. What is the secret of it? The sadhu said, O king, this is the human heart, which is never satiated. The more it has, the more it wants. Such is greed, lobh. But the root cause of lobh is desire. And the root cause of desire is attachment. When we are attached, desires arise. When you fulfill them, you experience greed. And on obstructing them, you experience anger. If we could give up attachment, the problem would be solved. So let us try and understand, why do we become attached? Everybody is attached to different things. Somebody is attached to alcohol, somebody is attached to cigarettes, so on and so forth. Now comes the spiritual secret. Against contrary notion, attachment is not because of intrinsic qualities of something. Like an alcoholic, their mind clings to that dirty fluid, the liquor. You offer them something aromatic, fresh fruit juice. They say, I don't want it. Why is it that you're wanting this thing with the obnoxious smell? I don't know why the desire is arising for it. The reason was the attachment. So, attachment is irrespective of the qualities of the object. How then does attachment arise? Understand this fundamental point. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate. Arjun, says Sri Krishna, whenever you repeatedly contemplate happiness, your mind will become attached. Your own revision of the thought, there is happiness there, maja aayega, this will give me so much of pleasure. That kind of contemplation results in the mind's clinging. At a school bus stand, every morning, high school boys come and stand there. They are detached from each other. But one boy starts contemplating happiness in a girl, and his mind becomes attached. Now that girl refuses to befriend him, and he goes and commits suicide. His friends are astonished. What went wrong? We were all on the same bus stand. How come his mind got so attached? It was the repeated contemplation. That contemplation somebody does towards the cigarette and gets attached to such a stupid thing. You know, the best definition of cigarette I have heard is a pipe with smoke at one end and a fool at the other end. But the person got fooled by their own practice of thoughts, the chintan. Now that we have understood the entire structure of mental afflictions, what is the solution? Sri Krishna has given it in the Srimad Bhagavatam in one powerful verse. Vishayan dhyayataschittam vishayeshu vishajyate mamanusmarataschittam mayyeva praviliyate. He says, look, repeated contemplation of happiness in material things resulted in your attachment there. Now repeatedly contemplate happiness is in God, and your mind will become attached to God. When your mind is attached to the All-Pure, you will aspire noble desires for knowledge, for service, for bhakti. And this will set you off on the auspicious path. What are these auspicious paths? The Vedas talk of karma, jnana, bhakti, etc., etc. We will understand the secret of these paths as we continue in this series, Spiritual Secrets from Hinduism.
the upliftment of mankind. Jagat Guru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj, who was an embodiment of spiritual knowledge and divine bliss, extracted and reconciled the wisdom from the enormous ocean of Vedic scriptures to spread Maharaji's mission to planetary scales. Swami Mukundananda has undertaken a monumental task of building Jagat Guru Kripalu University. Understanding the needs of present-day humanity, Swamiji's vision combines cutting-edge scientific disciplines with ancient Vedic wisdom, making JKYog a one-of-a-kind blend. The university will encompass the areas of Vedic philosophy, yoga, contemporary sciences, technologies, holistic medicine and arts. Construction of this millennial complex is at full swing on a 100-acre land in Odisha, India. It will play a crucial role in uplifting physical, mental and spiritual well-being of millions of people worldwide. Donate or raise funds for this noble cause. Every contribution will have a huge impact.